Jamal Walker is an ordinary man working full-time at a struggling theme park called Medieval World. The park's owner is facing financial difficulties, and Jamal worries about its future. Furthermore, a competitor, Castle World, is about to open nearby. If they don't come up with new ideas, Medieval World is certain to go bankrupt. One afternoon, Jamal is assigned to clean the moat around the park. While doing so, he notices a valuable-looking medallion in the water. It would actually only cost about $35 at the gift shop. Trying to retrieve it, Jamal falls into the moat. Although the water is shallow, he drowns. When he emerges, he is no longer in the park. He initially thinks he has arrived at the nearby competitor, Castle World. Unbeknownst to Jamal, he has time-traveled to 14th century England. The first person he encounters is a drunken man named Knot. Knot is wearing historical clothes, but Jamal assumes he is a costumed actor. Ignoring him, Jamal walks into the city and sees a huge castle. He believes this is Castle World's main attraction. He attempts to enter but is stopped by the guards. When they ask where he is from, he replies Normandy, meaning the neighborhood in LA, but the guards mistake him for a French Moorish emissary they were expecting next week. They let him in, and Jamal enters a bustling market where everyone is dressed in 14th century attire. He is impressed by the theme park's extreme accuracy and is still unaware he has time-traveled. Suddenly, his eyes fall on a beautiful maiden named Victoria. Jamal approaches her to talk, but he is interrupted by the cruel Sir Percival, a king's guard who believes he is entitled to all the women in the city. When Jamal gets close to Victoria, Percival's ego is bruised. Jamal threatens to report him for misconduct to the manager, and Percival draws his sword. Jamal, thinking the sword is a prop, reacts dismissively, which amazes the people, who mistake his casualness for boldness. He is then taken to meet the king. The king has arranged for his daughter, Princess Regina, to marry the Duke of Normandy. The king asks Jamal when the Duke will arrive, assuming Jamal is the Duke's messenger. Not knowing what to say, Jamal bluffs. That evening, he is taken to witness an execution. He thinks the actors are just following the park's program and is excited. The execution goes smoothly, but when he sees the severed head of a rebel, he is horrified and faints. When Jamal wakes up, he is in his room with Victoria. She is convinced he is one of her people because he is wearing the medallion he found in the moat. She shows him her similar medallion. It is the symbol of the rebels, who are unhappy with the king's cruel system of justice. The king unjustly overthrew the former queen and has killed many innocents who criticized his rule. The rebel group wants to drive the king out of the kingdom and restore the former queen. Jamal is still confused and asks her what the date and year are. When he learns it is 1328 AD, he is terrified. He wants to return to his own time but doesn't know how. Just then, a guard arrives to take him for a horse ride. Jamal, who knows nothing about riding, causes an uproar with his riding style, amusing everyone, including the king, who invites him to dinner. The dinner is boring, so Jamal livens up the party by dancing in his own style. Everyone joins him, and it becomes the liveliest party the castle has ever seen. In the middle of the party, Princess Regina pulls Jamal away and forces a kiss on him. She has been interested in him since he arrived but was afraid to approach him in front of her father. Percival catches them and is enraged by the audacity of this newcomer. Simultaneously, two rebels are sneaking in to assassinate the king. Jamal, while swinging on a burning chandelier, falls onto the king, accidentally saving him from the rebels. When the dust settles, Percival is blamed for the security failure, and Jamal is praised and made the head of security. Percival, filled with jealousy and anger, can only bow to the king's decision. As head of security, Jamal is tasked with several duties. He proposes rebuilding the castle entrance with a design he guarantees will keep enemies out. Before this plan is executed, the king calls him for a more important task. A peasant was caught stealing a turnip from the royal garden to feed his starving family. He is sentenced to be executed, and as the head of security, Jamal must carry out the execution. After the king leaves, Jamal not only sets the poor peasant free but also gives him some money for food. That night, Jamal asks for the best chambermaid to be brought to him for his entertainment. He chooses Victoria and is alone in his room with her under the pretense of sleeping with her. Victoria wants Jamal to be an asset to the rebels and help in the assassination of the king. However, after seeing the king sentence a man to death for stealing a vegetable, Jamal is afraid to rebel. Victoria is disappointed and leaves, calling him a coward. At midnight, a woman enters Jamal's room. He assumes it is Victoria and does not protest. The next morning, the real emissary from Normandy arrives, and the king realizes Jamal is a fraud. The emissary and the guards break into Jamal's room to arrest him and find him naked with Princess Regina. Percival accuses Jamal of forcibly taking the princess's virginity. Jamal argues that someone took the princess's flower before him, but no one listens. The emissary calls off the wedding, as Regina is no longer suitable to be a duchess. Due to this scandal, Jamal is imprisoned and is to be executed along with the two rebels who tried to assassinate the king. In the dungeon, Jamal befriends the rebels, who have already accepted their fate. They tell him about the Black Knight, a revolutionary warrior who they believe cannot be bribed with all the money in the world and will fiercely fight for justice. They say he was swallowed whole by a dragon in a battle but came out of its belly with the help of a golden sword and killed the dragon. After that, they say he could also breathe fire like a dragon. The next day, the three are brought before the crowd for execution. In a panic, Jamal declares he is a sorcerer from the future with the power to burn everyone. He tries to prove his words with a lighter, but it fails to ignite. Just as the executioner is about to chop off his head, the executioner chokes on an apple he ate and struggles to breathe. The crowd believes Jamal has cast a death spell. Jamal takes advantage of the misunderstanding and pretends to do the same to the audience. Suddenly, a fire breaks out nearby, making the common people believe in his power. However, it is actually the rebels shooting fire arrows from outside the castle to save their people. Finally, Jamal and the others escape the castle with Victoria's help. While riding, Jamal sees the drunken Nolt and realizes he was a hero of the former queen. He was one of the greatest warriors in the kingdom until the king deposed the queen and banished him. He eventually became an alcoholic, but everyone knows the fighter in him is still alive. After spending some time with the revolutionary group, Jamal understands the seriousness of the situation and finally decides to help them overthrow the king. While in the forest, he notices three men harassing Nolt for no reason. He helps the man but is caught by the thugs himself. Nolt snaps out of his depressive state and fights the thugs to save Jamal. He decides to stop drinking and help the cause. They return to the camp, only to find it destroyed. Percival and his men attack the camp and kidnap Victoria. Everyone loses hope of winning this fight. Just then, the former queen arrives. She reveals she has been with them the entire time, helping from the shadows. Over the next few days, the group prepares a better attack plan. With his knowledge of the future, Jamal teaches them tactics used in American football and professional wrestling. This provides a way for the unarmed rebels to fight. He also learns some basic sword fighting techniques from Nolt. Then, the day of the attack arrives. The group prepares and is ready to fight for their lives. Nolt leads them to the castle, but within minutes, they are surrounded by guards under Percival's command, and they are forced to retreat due to being outnumbered. Suddenly, to everyone's amazement, the Black Knight himself enters the battlefield. He makes a dramatic entrance, urging the guards to flee from him. He even breathes fire from his mouth. The rebels think they are finally going to win, but the Black Knight falls off his horse, revealing he is Jamal. Percival is about to take his life when Nolt arrives to save him, and they engage in a fight. A fierce battle ensues between the two sides. Using the tactics Jamal taught them, the commoners can outsmart and defeat many guards. In the middle of the fight, the king runs to Percival, begging him to take him to safety. Percival, seeing the king as a weak and unworthy ruler, commands him to shut up and pushes him off the castle wall into the moat when the king tries to order him. Percival shoots Nolt with a longbow, severely wounding him, but the rebels are gaining the upper hand. He then takes Victoria hostage. Jamal rushes to save her and fights Percival using the techniques Nolt taught him. Percival is surprised and tries his best to stay on his feet, but in the end, Jamal wins and saves Victoria. While he is helping Victoria up, Percival stands up again, ready to kill Jamal for good. However, Nolte, still alive on the battlefield, shoots and kills. The rebels finally win, and Jamal becomes a hero to everyone. A few weeks later, it is time for him to go home. He says goodbye to Victoria, giving her one last kiss before leaving. The Queen bestows upon him the title of the Black Knight, which is a compliment, despite its racial undertones. Moments later, Jamal is back in the 2000s, surrounded by medical staff and his co-workers. They tell him he drowned in the moat and was saved, but he has been unconscious ever since. His experience can be rationalized as a dream, but Jamal knows it wasn't. Before going to the past, he wanted to quit his job and move to the castle-themed park where he could earn more money, but now his attitude has changed. Knowing almost everything about Medieval World, he gives his ideas to the owner and modernizes the theme park. 6 weeks later, the park is a huge success and completely overshadows the opening of Castle World. While walking in the park, Jamal bumps into a woman named Nicole, who looks exactly like Victoria. Nicole comments that she feels like she knows him, and they start talking. He feels the mutual interest between them, but Nicole has to leave because of her nephew. Suddenly, Jamal remembers to ask for her number and runs after her, but he falls back into the moat while trying to catch her. This time, he wakes up in the Colosseum in ancient Rome. The story ends as he is running from lions.